Yeah.
Wow.
Correction.
When ya jama nese. Ya jama when.
Mama radio. And this is by your dear papa.
They were telling us about Russia-Ukraine war. And the Russia-Ukraine war, why is the petrol not 18? So you know, say, those people were lying. They were
me for 8 years and another baby so selling po and kwatna ya the first agrada akoje laba e ma give to worry etifie abuofunu so onye ska wen onya ne cathedral ni sika na wo chaye no de onya no de akoto private jet abuo bi so onye ska wen wetimi mutimi and we will get people that will fall for this. See politics and nonsense and no man see account with some no yan count with some. Yeah, you pokwasi interchange. Time when we pokwasi interchange.
Taking our money they were stealing from us. But when the reasons are legitimate, why should we fight? Why should we argue? The reasons are legitimate.
You see, NDC, you know, a Congress party. You understand? Adia ba ku Ghana frontier say e wa manyosem. See a two aba wi ni yi aban a enye party affairs bi. E Ghana asem na ye.
Now, so research be etumono ama nanado no old appointees, which is the big NPP wings, no. This is trending on social media. So was an official video from mobile WhatsApp. Maybe to what your comment section is straight to the news. Now, on Cherry, in a Felix Ofosu Kwakye, the spokesperson for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, na the NDC Abano. Oko grante one particular Nkomobia. Also there. There's a lot of Nkoma from the word there. Ora, which is operation recover all Lutono, Yada, horrible Kodo, another. I'm for you, Vimbo. And honestly, there. So because I won't give him more or anima. I that my impano wakasa na wakwichi na impano onyim ma worry behind the scenes. But shade ma worry atam egru n'enyim no wonya wo hom osi wechi. Na osi ejuma we di no. Se onyim pa onte yikor. Ever since I was started waba benim started the research na oye ora hu dwumadwumai. Obi ti de chama wu to me ne bank's account ni nyinara we freezing. Even no mobile money account program we're freezing. Until from that time now about benefit up to date. In other oye chama to me we to program we yisika mpo mobile money than the bank account. We're freezing now because he's under investigation. Now according to investigation no obi say chama to me na certain people be. Now chama to me receive around $50 million, 50 million Ghana cedis. That basically according to Ishomino from Felix Ofosu Kwakye no, chere what the can be or the quarter treasury bill. No, this can be or the year or insurance company. Na that Mexicano, baby ogun which is treasury bill na mawada insurance company. Baby ning na guning in ano. What then say what that to do. No nyo kwa certain painful bia including susumpo there. Ebeti won it today health minister. Today ma wadi ato force no. Time no a deputy finance minister no. The same today kwa health sector wana. Opinion another health sector one. Oh, so onu pos the susuro COVID-19 Sputnik vaccine na yetete won some there Ghana akaje sana no pokran ho sam pokran do so pokran asa waswa aka no hwi na sintum nka na ono na asa ndam na ote the ono na asa pos bebre monyo now also that it just tells you one thing. There, also never when you're hunting, ibutum na akasa bebre. Also no problem. A man for no we bedin come but won ya reshim. Wan share one about there after kurintem or bachichi winara. But what in trobasen kakangakra. No son there. Sa I don't know a man for no wana kuma another wana drinking about those in it no. Was set up at the district tribunal. Them rabaya at the NPP before they are to force no. The woods and some every day, mama at the time no NDC in parliament no one tia oye sitting in the parliament I feel boycott the parliament that man no they are bringing it back to every NPP EBRA would deny some was MTBA through the district tribunal into all the day one can comment to you know we be turn the money be on na Fredo Council of the host of TV3 bisa na question be there in this and we yenti about sikasembio from Shamawu to me in a certain secret be it has to do with something secret appointees of Ronaldo. No, so can want some. Or kaba asam wadama issue no. No started obobo isn't. It's no bueno. There were more than 30 names. You grow up son is kawaho. But a member was only a call the catch of TV3 I could see that and say me now. But more than a video for me was some area. Check the comment section.
For achieving a political end. The most we can do is to use the law to see if we can carry out some reforms to make the process a bit more satisfactory than before. So indeed, I have sat in cabinet. A bill to reintroduce the tribunals has been approved by cabinet. It should be in parliament by now. Once it is approved, the tribunals will be brought back.
And that will ensure some
to, among other things, deal with some of these matters and matters involving galamsey and other offenses so that we can speed up a bit. But a slow judicial process is not the same as inefficiency on the part of government in implementing oral. So what has happened since oral came? The oral cases were spread amongst 3 agencies: the police CID, the NIB, and the IOCO.
Before you go on to that, but how do you answer the question? You knew about this slow judicial process, but yet made promises that were hinged on a certain pace at which.
No, but who spoke about pace? First of all, who said, for instance, that we will jail everybody under 1 year? Who said that? If you can give me that, we will move on. So what is the basis for saying that if after 1 year, everybody...
You have the power to jail people.
No, it's just my word of expression. What I'm saying is that, so if after 1 year, as we have now, everybody has not been put in jail, how do you say that oral has failed? Did we ever say that in 1 year we jail everybody? Did we ever say that we jail everybody in 1 week or even in 10 years?
No.
You understand me? If you let me land, you understand the point I'm making? So it's important to dismiss propaganda and separate it from facts. So what have the agencies been up to? NIB, for instance, they have looked into 27 cases. They have produced dockets. In other words, they have invited people, questioned them, cautioned them, and built a docket and presented same to the Attorney General for action. IOCO, they have over 40 such cases. In the case of NIB, over 43 people have been affected, including Kwekwaji Mamenu, who only this week was all over the place claiming that nobody had touched him.
What happened to him?
Meanwhile, he had been brought in, he had been questioned, he had been cautioned.
When did this happen?
Last year.
Caution on what exactly?
When you are cautioned, it simply means that they take your statement, indicating that you have been brought under a certain...
Question and caution.
On two cases. The Sputnik V vaccine case, and then the Frontier case involving COVID-19 testing at the airport. That has happened. Of course, it is not in all cases that it is highlighted. There are instances where political party operatives mass up and they get lawyers to say it, so then it becomes public. But not all. In fact, I can give you a rundown. For instance, the National Service Authority case, it involves gift to our Mensa, and I don't do this with satisfaction. No, it is necessary. I don't do this to embarrass or humiliate anybody. But it is necessary to so that people stop. Exactly. So gift to our Mensa and OCSB, National Service Authority. IOCO finished it, gave the dockets to Attorney General. He has done it. He is in court. Indeed, I think last week or so, the court indicated that we were going to do case management. It is part of the process. And lawyer Pia Kubu and Martin Kubu will bear me out. The Sputnik V case, I have told you. Indeed, as I speak, 2 dockets are ready. And in the coming weeks, the Attorney General will take him to court and charge him for these 2 cases. Again, the Accra SkyTrain project, it involves Solomon Asamoah, who was the CEO of GIF, and then Professor Amayo Kunfi. So they are also in court. Now, there's a case involving SML. Even though the Attorney General, the Special Prosecutor is dealing with another case. There's another case that the Attorney General is dealing with, involving Emmanuel Kofi Nti, Dr. Isaac Kressel, and Mr. Christian Tetesoti. There's a free Wi-Fi case involving Dr. Matthew Poku Prempe, and he himself has publicly said that he has been invited, questioned, and a docket has been prepared. There's a gentleman called Opioluwa Omotayo Ojo. I suspect that he's Nigerian. Benjamin Kofi Jesse, William Entry Dakun, and Matilda Ewia Azuma. They are the persons of interest in the free Wi-Fi battle. There's a National Lottery Authority case involving Kofi Osameyaw, Henry Kwame Asare Yentumi, and Derek Bisi Apia. There's Buankra Inland Ports involving Kweku Forie Siama, who was the former transport minister, Justice Amu, John Bernard Cranton York, and Michael Achagwe Luguje. Pardon me if I've mispronounced the name. Then the DRIP case. It's a matter that people have been called on. The likes of Mohammed Amin Andam, the former finance minister, and Irene Nantoshi, the former administrator.
They've been called
and questioned. The former administrator of what call it? This Assembly's Common Fund. There could be 19 Frontiers case, Kwekwaji Menu and Samuel Bansa. The Pualugu multi-purpose dam, Dr. Owusu Efeyaku, the former Agric minister, Wilson Kwabena Dankwa. I beg your pardon. Al Hassan Alolo Muntaka, I believe he was in the vice president's office. Yes. National ambulance case. Emmanuel Owusu Mwedu
Okay.
Mathematical set. That's a full expression. Sarah Femi Bedietu Asante, I believe, is the spouse of the president's the former presidential secretary, Mr. Asante Bedietu. Kwejo Daku Mensa, Benjamin Kofi Jesse, Philip Tetepadi, and Matthew Poku Prempe.
Again, this is the mathematical.
This is a mathematical set issue. The Moshosho rice case, there was an issue about importation of some rice that was not fit for purpose or something. David Eje Miensa, Simon Eje, Elik Lim Dogbe, and Patrick Ohini Ufori. Then there's a duplicative digitalization, which is Ghana Health Service and National Health Insurance Authority, Dr. Patrick Kuma Bwaji. West Blue Judgment Debt. It involves Kedofoyata, who, as I speak, is a fugitive, has fled the jurisdiction. And then there's a 13th African Games. I could go on and on and on and on. So anybody who comes to tell, for instance, they've been called, interrogated, and these are cases on which dockets have been prepared. And so the attorney general has to look through it and then determine a date that is suitable to go to court. If you go to Yoko, there are some of the cases that were not part of oral. You can only discover them when you come into government, like the National Signals Bureau thing. It was never an oral. In fact, there were many people who didn't even know Mr. Dubois was even a public official. But when we came to power and we got wind of it, we looked into it. Indeed, he was arrested in March 2025. By April, he was in court. The Attorney General has said that he will call 5 witnesses. Three of them are done. He's left with 2. So that they can conclude their case, and then Mr. Dubois will open their case. That is a normal judicial process. My brother, Honorable Apiakubi, is here. He is a lawyer for Wuntumi, and he will testify that in the case of Wuntumi, actually, I think they've done, you are supposed to do a establishment of no case or something, if I'm not mistaken. All the state's witnesses have testified. So the state has made its case. The onus is now on them to either contest the state case through a establishment of no case. Which is normal. In the Atu-Forcing case, he made a establishment of no case. So it is normal judicial procedure. The national service case, sorry, that one too, I told you that they are doing case management. It's part of the buffer stock case. There are at least 3 people who are in court over it. Abdul Hanan and his wife, and then I think another what do you call it? So the Attorney General has gone step by step to ensure that this is done. Again, in terms of recovery, when the president said Yoko had recovered 600 million Ghana cedis, there were those who said, we should publish the list. I clarified that apart from oral, Yoko is an established organization that deals with regular crime, money laundering, tax evasion, carjacking, cross-border crime, and all that. So in their normal routine course of work, they've done 642 million Ghana cedis recovery. In 2024, they did 186 million recovery. So this one actually is an improvement on that. But in terms of oral, the only time, again, there are 2 lawyers here who will bear me out. The only time you can recover is when the person has been convicted. What you can do in the interim is that you freeze the assets to protect it, so that in the event that in the course of the trial they don't divert it and move it outside of the jurisdiction. Indeed,
that is why I asked you that question, whether you have the power to convict. And I'm saying,
no, I mean the court, yes, the court. When the court convicts,
your mandate
is prosecution. That's all. And that is what we are doing.
Yes.
But I'm telling you what steps have been. Every case that has been investigated or is in court, they have taken steps to ring fence the assets. Indeed, there have been instances where some of those whose assets have been frozen have contested. They've said that the assets don't belong to them, and therefore the state cannot purport. They are allowed to do so. It's part of the judicial process. Everybody accused must be given sufficient opportunity. Sorry about it, but
no, the matter is still sub judice. The matter is still sub judice.
Fine.
No, you are allowed to mention those aspects.
So he has. Look, we discovered for instance. No, it's not about.
Please go ahead.
I'm not. Let me also make it clear. I'm not pronouncing.
No, I'm not saying.
I'm not pronouncing on the substantive case. I'm only telling you
the facts.
I'm telling you the action that the state has taken. So, for instance, on the 8th of January, 2025. It was found that about 50 million Ghana cedis had been paid him from Cocoa Board.
Yeah.
Cocoa Board for some work that he said to have done. He moved 30 million of that to purchase some securities. In other words, bonds, right? I think treasury bills. And then about 23 million to purchase or set up an insurance company.
Hey, man.
When was this?
Oh, this was in January, February.
Last year.
Yes. So all these assets have been frozen as I speak. Indeed, again, look, even his mobile money account has been frozen.
Chairman, won't
yes.
mobile money account.
Even his mobile money account has been frozen. Unless he sets up another one or use another conduit, he cannot use mobile money, receive or send. So that is the extent to which the state has gone to ring fence these assets pending the determination of the case. How can anybody see this and say Oral has died? The other issue too is that it is important to do thorough investigations. The reason being that it costs money to prosecute people. There may be cases where you suspect strongly that wrongdoing has occurred, but you may not find the evidence. In that case, you don't go at all. You suspect strongly that there must be some wrongdoing, but either the evidence has been so well concealed or that the information available is sketchy and scanty, so you can't go to court with it. In that case, even if you have that suspicion, you cannot go because it costs money, it costs time to prosecute people. It is state resources that are used to do the prosecution. So if you are not absolutely certain, you cannot go there and waste anybody's time. So it is not fair to say that Oral has not died. And
Deputy Finance Minister or the Finance Minister for that ministry, for that matter, choose this mode of presentation, as in to have the Finance Minister or the Deputy Finance Minister present a statement on the audit, this forensic audit report, without members of Parliament having a copy of it?
First of all, it's not true that parliamentarians don't have a copy of it. The way it works is that the report is laid, and my honorable colleague here knows. The report is laid before Parliament. In other words, it's formally presented to Parliament, and then the Speaker refers it to the appropriate committee. Indeed, both the minority leader and majority leader have copies of it. It's a very voluminous report. There was no way the Deputy Finance Minister was going to be able to read the entirety of the report. In fact, even the budget statement, when the Finance Minister comes to Parliament, he asks Parliament to adopt the full report or the full statement for the records, whilst he reads excerpts because of the sheer length and volume. So it is not practical to read it. So let me place it on record that the report was laid before Parliament on Tuesday. Indeed, the minority leader, in his contribution to the statement, quoted copiously from the report that was before him. MPs will have it in their pigeonholes. So before long, it will be in their offices because the IRAs will take it and go and give it to them. So that is how reports in the House have been distributed. There's never a situation where an Auditor General's report or any report is coming and all MPs are giving copies at the same time before it is read. Number two, both in the 2025 and 2026 budget statements, the Finance Minister mentioned this matter, that there were issues of arrears that have come to his attention, that he has commissioned a forensic audit into it, and that once it is done, he will report on it to Parliament. So it was necessary for him to report. So what the Deputy Finance Minister did on behalf of his minister was to report as he had promised in the budget statement. Also, it is important to highlight the problem so that we begin to find solutions to it. Because if you look into various Auditor General's reports since 1992, indeed, in my previous guys as a member of the CJ, one of the things we used to do was to routinely examine Auditor General reports and flag issues that are reported in thereof. It was necessary to bring to the attention of members of the House, rather than just laying the reports and getting a committee to go and work on it. And also draw the country's attention to instances where the public purse is abused and loopholes are exploited to the detriment of all of us. We are talking billions of Ghana cedis, at least 8 billion Ghana cedis that have been rejected.
When the Finance Minister first mentioned this in the budget, the figure was over 10 billion.
Yes, because
what
happened in the course of the audits, appropriate responses were provided for some of the queries. Indeed, what the Auditor General does in the final report is that if a report or a claim or a query has been adequately answered, he will not flag it. So he will send management letters to the entities concerned, and the management will then respond. He will weigh the responses against the findings, and if he finds that a particular claim has been satisfactorily answered, he will not flag it. There's pending verification for 13 billion. He has looked at all of them, but he says that he's not satisfied with the explanations yet. And so if those concerned have additional explanations to offer, they are free to bring it. He will weigh it against his findings and then make a determination as to whether or not the matter should be flagged for further action, or that claim should be shut down. In other words, it will not appear in his report. Mind you, the Auditor General also